Well, it's hot, it's humid. There was one last post I wanted to make, some concern to our US cousins, especially in Alabama, where they've just passed the Human Life Protection Act, which raises a 6-week limit on those seeking an abortion. A fetal heartbeat argument being put forward, and restrictions and penalties for doctors. 99 years in prison. They love their prison in the US. They can't get enough of prison. Got to keep them prisons full. If you don't keep them full, who's going to work for the corporations that run half these private prisons? Anyway, what does this legislation attempt to do? Well, it's the first, second, third round in a challenge to Roe versus Wade, the 1973 decision by the Supreme Court that, according to the American Constitution, rights of a citizen only commence once you have been born. You have to be born in the USA to have the rights, human rights. This decision decided a future course for America for the past 50 years, where women had the right, their doctors, to make the decisions about their own health care. The exceptions that this Protection Act, so-called, offer only to that, or those whose life is in danger from a pregnancy. Now, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that rapists, incestuous and peodophiles who get their victims pregnant have the right to insist that that victim bears that child. Will they have to get lawyers to insist upon this right? No. The public prosecutor will take up their case, deeming the women chattels to be passed around and abused in this manner. And then holding the rights of these terrible people, these people who use their physical powers to strip women, mainly women, of their rights and freedoms and their right to say no. So Alabama, well done. You have now empowered the rapists, incestuous, the paedophiles, the rapist judges, the Trump-like molesters, the pussy grabbers, to force their victims. Course of action which any doctor, any medical professional, and any woman who believes she has freedom to choose her health care and choose the decisions that she makes about her own body down the toilet. This will be pursued. Other states, Missouri, Ohio, etc., are passing their own legislation with variants of the theme of this so-called heartbeat law and the penalties that they wish to impose upon doctors who assist and give good medical advice and treatment to their patients, which should be confidential. And they have taken a Hippocratic oath. Don't forget, the doctor's there to protect the life and protect the life of the living. take into consideration the circumstances and the wishes of the women who are seeking this advice and service. So, in contrast with the UK, for many, many years, a woman's right to choose has been inviolate, and politicians and local authorities and national authorities realise that if they turn round with these so-called pro-life policies, they wouldn't be in office for very long, because in the UK, some of the freedoms that we have enjoyed since the National Health Service was set up in 1940, or late 1940s, are fantastic, and we should be proud of that. We should be proud that for nearly 50 years, 40 years after the Great Second World War, we lived in a socialist country where human rights, shelter, education, healthcare, and economic equality were considered the leading policies of even conservative governments, who, in those many years before Margaret Thatcher, were in full support of equality, economic equality. TF Press. I've been to Alabama. I love Alabama, but the legislators in Alabama, they need to wake up and smell the coffee of human rights and women's rights, and not be a lip spittle to rapists, Peodophiles, Incestuous, and those in power who abuse that power to subjugate women and force to submit to those powers. EF Press, Typer, over and out.